Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
See, it's always important to add perspective. And today we're going to do that with Thunderbolts 2025. The Marvel Cinematic movie. This movie had an asterisk next to it. The title. As soon as they announced it, and it did what it was supposed to do. People just speculated on and on, trying to figure it out. Why does the Thunderbolts movie have an asterisk? And later, like post-release of the movie, Marvel does one of the most original marketing ploys, marketing gimmicks. 200 years, not maybe 200, right? What's 150 years maybe of American cinema, right? I know Disney just celebrated its 100, Warner Brothers, it's 100, but yeah, there was Hollywood before Disney and Warner Brothers. So, like, I might be exaggerating a little, but we can say 125 years of American cinema. No one retitled the movie when it got released. Isn't that amazing? So they do this, like, secondary publicity event where they rip off the title. And the asterisk is like moved on the other side, so Thunderbolts becomes Avengers, the Avengers. And that's really the intent and the point of the movie, where we do have like the criticisms were accurate to anyone that compared this movie to DC's Suicide Squad. Even when we move through the plot, we just have very basic heroes with no true superpowers going against something ungodly. Just like in Suicide Squad, when they go against an Enchantress, which had, like, the original ending for that movie leaned in a different direction. But we got what we got. I'm not terribly... The more I watch Suicide Squad, the less disappointed I am with the ending. I do like the character arcs. Same formula here. Now, is this going to be a trope? Is this something we're going to see later where we really do get some ragtags going against something that they shouldn't be fighting, but we root for them, which is what happened at the end of Suicide Squad. So the movies are somewhat parallel. The Thunderbolts, in their inception within the comics, were always villains, but they were disguised as heroes, and they came out just comic book storyline wise. They came out at a time where Thor, Iron Man, Avengers, Fantastic Four, Avengers were not being published. They were in a pocket universe, and alternate versions of that universe. That's what people got for over a year. So during this time, this guy named Kurt Busiek comes up with this idea to have villains masquerading, disguising themselves as heroes during this time. And then, the Thunderbolts book changes a lot when those heroes come back from the pocket universe. This is also what I consider to be a true continuity break that Marvel not quite ever recovered from 96, 97, 98. They never quite got over this, guys. But the Thunderbolts really was one of Marvel's premier reads at this time because of it. So for me, the asterisks also just meant that they were villains. And there's a big side of me that hoped that they stuck to that. There was a big side of me in this movie, even as I'm watching it. I'm just saying to myself, I wish people thought they were good guys and they're really up to like Black Ops evil stuff. That's not what this movie is. This movie, and let's add some perspective. If you guys really want to know how I view this movie, if this movie came out pre-Avengers Endgame, if this movie was the between movie of Infinity War and Endgame, if this movie came out soon after Avengers Endgame, see, the timing of this movie killed it. Same as Black Widow. And I return to Black Widow a lot. Just 'cause I do like the I call it emotional politics of that movie, where every character is just, you know, like they're playing chess with everyone else. Not so much for the action. I think the Black Widow movie is an emotionally powerful movie. Right, we can say these things about superhero action films, aka Padders. So I came into Thunderbolts with a presupposition, right? Like there was so much not to like about this movie. But if this movie came out before the crash, the MCU crash, that we can all agree we're in. Fantastic Four didn't do what Fantastic Four had to do. It just did it. I don't care about the quality. And we can say the same about this movie, because if this movie came out before Endgame, I feel like it would have been $1.25 million, maybe even $1.5 million. I think this movie would have caught fire. I think this movie would have done a lot of damage. But what they do is they really take the scraps of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they make a movie out of it. Now, my other contention going into this movie was the use of the Sentry. This is our villain. I always viewed the Sentry should be a serious version of the She-Hulk. When She-Hulk talks to the camera, or Deadpool talks to the camera, and they break the fourth wall, which is the most overused movie observation ever. I just never want to use it. But when She-Hulk and Deadpool talk to us, the audience, this is the Sentry, but the Sentry is this on a broader, more meta level, where the character itself doesn't know its own existence, because that existence is tethered to our reality. The Sentry is forever a intellectual creation. He's a tough shell to crack. Marvel has used him in proper, meaning they dumbed him down. But when the Sentry first premiered, it was as thrilling as Thunderbolts. It was just this amazingly imaginative position for a comic book character. And as you can see, like, you know, my world is crumbling. The film buff's world crumbles from the inside because I'm getting a Thunderbolts that I know is lackluster to the comic book version. And I rarely say this. I like separating the two. The comics are not the movies, but sometimes, in some cases, and this was two of the cases, we see a misstep in the Sentry. Like, the Sentry should have been something that existed on Disney Plus. They should have had fake documentaries about the Sentry. They should have had fake Marvel creators talking about the creation of... There should have been a lot of misinformation about the Sentry. And they should have found ways to cross over the confusion. They should have confused the audience along the way, as the Sentry himself is often confused. And I don't think there's quite many commentators that have nailed exactly what happened with the Sentry within the comics, because Marvel did something similar with the premiere of that character. But then the follow-up, one-shots, the miniseries, but then eventually Sentry just folds into Marvel to become a Superman proxy that has like a dark side. He has a split personality. That's a very rudimentary way to look at this character. So there was a lot of myself going into Thunderbolts where I'm just like, like it. I get it. People say it's there, but I'm just not excited to see it. So the perspective is, it's got weird title change. They're not the Avengers. No one's got superpowers. They're butchering the Thunderbolts themselves. It's a movie of B-list, C-list, D-list characters. Literally, like D-list characters. They are the D-list. And they're destroying the Sentry. And then we have a Marvel Cinematic Universe environment that's just not quite exciting. But this movie's good. It's taken me 10 minutes to get to that point. This movie, pre-Avengers Endgame, would have made $1 billion. This movie had nice budget, $180 million, made $380, made $100 million over its budget. It's written by Eric Pearson. If you're not familiar with Eric Pearson, he's of the writer's room when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's got his fingerprints over a dozen movies, TV, some of the TV work, some of the short film work. He's one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe architects that people don't know. Eric Pearson, know that name. This movie is co-written by Jonah Kalau. Animation. We gotta get these animation people out of live action. We just gotta. The Simpsons The Simpsons changed everything. I get it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Jonah contributes. You see a lot of quips, a lot of jokes in this one. Maybe too many, but they're there. And then we have Jake Shearer. This is our director. Here's the crazy thing. He's got a handful of movies. I've seen almost all of them. Robot and Frank, 2012. Solid movie. Frank Langella. Paper Towns. I randomly watched this movie one night. Loved it. 2015. Here we go. 2025 Thunderbolts. And that's it. We're done. we're wrapped up with his filmography. I thought he had... My apologies. I thought he had one more in there that I had not seen. So this is also a little bit of the Marvel formula that we saw time and time again during the golden days of the MCU, where they target the right material with the right directorial talent. But this movie pretty much came and went, and Fantastic Four came and went. And I really do hate to say it. It just feels like we're at an all-time low for these movies. I think this is a good movie that hangs out, sort of stands on its own. Still very heavy with Falcon, Winter... Like, everything that... all the Black Widow stuff. Falcon, Winter Soldier. It's heavy with not Quantumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp 2. And then everything Julia Louis-Dreyfus, all her little pop-ups throughout the MCU collide here. I mean, it's a continuity heavy movie that there's a big side of me that feels like it did not have to be. But I feel like this movie warrants more. It's good enough to warrant a sequel, a follow-up. Of all the characters that they've attempted to move on from since Endgame, the Black Widow is the only transition that worked. Isn't that amazing? Like, Florence Pugh is so good as Black Widow. And I don't think they directly call her Black Widow. They gotta make her Black Widow. She's trying to become Yelena is her character name. but she's trying to become a Black Widow in this movie, which is fantastic. This is her movie. I think this is her coming out party. And again, all the commentators missed it. She's the only MCU transition that worked. So it is dire straits. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this flick, but I really did. And I want to watch it again. And I want the MCU, if anyone out there is here listening, anyone connected to you guys, and I know we're growing. We gotta do something with this movie. We really do. Now, I have yet to see Fantastic Four. Yes, shoot me now. I have tried for about 3 straight weeks. Busy schedule, busy boy. I'll eventually see Fantastic Four soon. Hopefully before it hits digital. I want to bring you guys Fantastic Four. I feel like maybe it's turning a corner. Because I know that's not a bad movie. I just think there's elements of that movie people don't enjoy, like the female Silver Surfer part, and potentially the lack of Reed Richards being Reed Richards. But all in all, I am looking forward to it, as I was with Superman, which is now available. I feel like we gotta do an episode just on that. All right, AKAPADers, full recommendation: Thunderbolts with the asterisks.
Okay, that's a wrap.